Welcome to the new 26 Rainbow Power. Before we get to the review in earnest, let me just make a statement here. This episode marks the final episode for one Amy Keaton Rogers, a longtime writer on the series, as she moves on to Disney past this episode. Your work and your excellent episodes will not be forgotten. Your humor, your writing quality, and your overall joy and care for the series is without question. You will most certainly be missed, Miss Rogers. And let me state that your last outing may have been one of, if not your best one. The main attraction is about celebrity, is about friendship over fame. Seeing that I am a pony well versed in being famous, after all, I am the Rainbow King, dealing with fame can be somewhat difficult. But it's often the most famous people that live the most sheltered lives. A person that lives their life under a veil often lives a life of mistruths. When the light is shined upon that veil, they can be blinded by the mistakes that they make. I.e., to this inspirational lesson, Countess Calvatura, an excellent singer voiced by the human Lena Hall. This singer knew from an early age, actually an old friend of Applejack's, that she had a talent for voice, and she went out to nurture it, and in so doing got wrapped up in Manhattan's pop star scene, growing an even bigger star than even that of Sapphire Shores. But often the celebrity and the bigness and the ability to get everything you ever wanted can go to your head, as so was the thought of Countess. But that wasn't the truth. Much like much pop music in the 80s, New Kids on the Block, In Sync, Backstreet Boys in the 90s, and most what people would call pre-produced pop used the modern example of Lady Gaga to exhibit this character's physical appearance, mixed with a little bit of Prince and Michael Jackson, just to make references to the 80s. And you have the look of Countess Calvatura. Pre-packaged pop, heavy lights, auto-tune, done by magic. Everything that most people hate about modern pop music. But this was not true of Calvatura. No, this was just a fallacy, a mask. And not only was she masking her true singing ability, she was masking how she felt about it, hiding her true self in chase of popularity or to maintain it, allowing her demanding manager Spingala to write the webs and weave the personality just so. But we often do that in our own lives. After all, I had to make the human version of me. Recently had to make a decision about real friends over fake ones, choosing to speak his mind and be vocally true to himself rather than lying to those that he once considered friends. Oftentimes, celebrities have to do this to protect their marketing image, their monetary gain, and even to some aspects, even young YouTuber ponies like yourselves often have to create personalities and setups and funny gags. Take into account famous YouTubers like PewDiePie or even to some aspect Angry Joe. It's all personality. But the truth has also been revealed. PewDiePie is one of the most charitable YouTubers on the internet. In fact, most of his fortune goes to charity. And most celebrities, especially in things like wrestling, aren't always what they seem. After all, it is all just an act. But as we've seen in modern music, more true-to-yourself artists, writers that write their own songs and develop their own looks, have become massively popular and have become more the rage. Carrie Underwood, Taylor Swift, two of your human race's finer examples of this identity, shows that one can be true to oneself and one's talent. And it often takes a friend, or it often takes several, to figure out who you truly are. If one cannot accept you for what you are truly are in life, they are not truly your friends. They are merely riding the coattails of a possible celebrity to feel bigger than themselves, that have the lack of courage to step upon and come into the light. And oftentimes, when one lifts the veil and unleashes their true self upon the world, true fame, not only physically, but spiritually, can come to thee. And that is the greatest reward of all, to have spiritual health, to be one with oneself, to, ironically, find peace in their own nirvana. That's why this episode is perfect. There are two musical numbers in this episode. One that could easily be done as an equestrian national anthem, but the other is an elegant piece known as I'm Just a Pony. One of the most elegantly performed pieces in the history of the show. Powered by this powerhouse voice, it is a fine conclusion to the episode as Countess lifts her veil and reveals her true self and her true singing talent. It is powerful. It is memorable. And what a fine way for Amy Keaton Rogers to end her stint here, with something powerful, profound, and enlightening. To be one's true self, even at the end. Even with all the continuity nods, strangely, to every episode that Amy Keaton Rogers has ever written, is a nice touch. Everything is done excellent, and once again shows why Applejack is indeed the voice of wisdom that I trust. Is without a doubt that this episode is needed, seeing that next week we conclude our season's journey. And what a fine calm before the storm. After a few weeks of things being tipsy, Finally, Season 5 gets back on its excellent track and proves once and for all that, like a fine piece of music, Season 5 might be the most elegantly written song to date. And the crazy thing is, there's still one more stanza to be written. A 6 out of 6. Be true to oneself. Lift your own veil. Hopefully, as always, as the old saying goes, the truth will set you free. And until next week, where we end our journey, at least for this season, not quite yet, find peace in your own nirvana. And realize you're just fine being yourself. See you next week.